So people are free to issue coins and have innovation. I think if everyone just works on Bitcoin, it may actually limit innovation. So I think we should have different experiments going on, faster blockchains, other crazier blockchains, other centralized projects that uses crypto, etc. So all of those things are interesting to me. So I'm not a So I was never a Bitcoin maximalist. I don't hold that many coins. So I only hold today. I only have Bitcoin, BNB. So I'm not really diversifying. I'm not investing in all kind of different things.
Of course.
I do encourage from an innovation point of view other people to develop other blockchains and go for innovations. Innovations good.
And you know what that brings up? You've probably seen, you're one of the few people that have probably seen the gamut of different types of cryptocurrencies attempt to get listed on Binance. So you've probably seen the great ones and then the bad ones. What best practices would you suggest to a person that wants to start, or a business that wants to start their own cryptocurrency? And do you think that they should?
Actually, we talked a little bit about this like 2 years ago. I would say for the project founders, there's a few different questions you should ask yourself if you want to issue a token yourself. It's like if you only do one thing for the next 10 years, if there's something that you want to do, if this is the project that you want to do, and there's one thing in life that you must do now or later, and if it's also the same thing. If those two things match, and if the question to both is yes, then you're probably at the right place to start a token, to launch a project. And that'll be your last mission for the next 5-10 years. It may be difficult, it may be good, it may be easy, it may be good. Most likely it's going to be very challenging, and it's going to be very tough usually, at least for a long period of time. The other aspect is I would highly recommend people don't issue a token too quickly. I would actually recommend people to build a product first before they issue a token. So once you issue a token, it's very hard to unissue that. So let's say like you say, oh, I'm going to build the next big thing, and idea's great, and then you raise, I don't know, $10-20 million using crypto. Now thousands of people have invested in you, and your name's out there. And if you fail, thousands of people are going to lose their money, and they're going to complain and bitch, and you're going to have a bad rap, and you're going to hurt other people. So, and products have a very high failure rate. So, and just being able to build a product is already difficult. So I would recommend people using smallest amount of money possible to build a product and get some market fit test. Once you feel that the product has traction, then issue a token and say, look, raise the money. When the projects fail, it's really hard to unissue a token. So you buy it back, you probably spend the money already on part of the development. You will not be able to buy it back at the original price if you're running a failed project. So all of those things hurt other people.
All right, fam, if you're watching this, I was trying to get you guys to be able to see this properly, but I don't know what's going on with the audio. You guys should be able to hear it better. This is big news, though. Binance is like the biggest company there is. So I'm trying to see if I can get it where the audio... Oh, here we go. The audio should work. Here, stand by.
People, and in turn hurts your own reputation. So I would really recommend people to sort of have a product first and know there's a market fit, and then issue a token. So that would be my advice.
Now, we do have a couple of super chats. I want to get to those in a second, but you talked about how you're not a Bitcoin maximalist because the most freedom is people's ability to choose what they want. And Bitcoin does certain things really well, but other coins, there's give and take with everything. I think, first of all, the Bitcoin maximalist argument isn't that you can't, speculate on these coins. It's just that in the end, Bitcoin will eat much of those other coins just because it's, truly decentralized and censorship resistant, or the first or whatever. Do you think, looking towards the future, that Bitcoin will take up, how much of the crypto market cap, going farther in time, do you see Bitcoin taking up as far as total crypto market cap?
To be honest, I think Bitcoin's dominance over time will decrease, not increase. So it may increase in the short term. There are things. So I think there's a lot of innovations people do that people can bring back to Bitcoin, like second layer of solutions, etc. But when a technology is out already, is adopted for 10 years, there's a very limited, there's relatively more limited scope that you can sort of update it. So once the technology is out, the framework's kind of there and is adopted. We've seen that with almost every technology, like with software, with programming languages like Java, C++, those kind of iterations, with the Rust now. So, and also nothing lasts forever, ever, right? So if you really look at, take a longer time horizon, if you look at the internet, that's HTML 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's like browser shifts into different platforms. The first search engine is not the search engine most people use today. The first social network is not that either. And also like previous strong companies like IBM, Microsoft are no longer the biggest and most valuable companies. They're still big, but so things change. It's not, I think, look, if you look at 10, 20, 50 years later, I think it's totally conceivable that something new will replace Bitcoin and something better than Bitcoin. I don't think we will lose Bitcoin. So I don't think we'll go back into fiat. Just okay, Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's already passed the litmus test. It's gonna be there. It's not gonna roll back. It's not gonna disappear. But something new, something better. People always invent things that are new and better. And when you have a full, like a large adoption, revamping that is actually slower than building something new. So that's why I think Ethereum's built. It's kind of still difficult to get smart contract capability onto Bitcoin. Bitcoin's not super fast, etc. There are other more innovative blockchains that's being built right now. So Ethereum actually has some capacity issues as well. They're much faster blockchains. They're much, there's a lot of guys who copied Ethereum and added more features to it and made it faster. So we live in a constant iterative process. And I think for the foreseeable future, though, for the foreseeable short future, Bitcoin dominance will be the most dominant one. Bitcoin has a strong network effect, being that anybody who comes into crypto will learn Bitcoin first. And so, and given that 99.9% of the population don't have crypto yet, so Bitcoin still have a large room to grow. But look, if you ask like 20 years from now, is it still going to be king? 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now? And the answer is obviously, well, we're not sure. Things just change over time. So I'm not, so when you take a much longer term horizon, I wouldn't say that Bitcoin's dominance will stay there forever. Nothing stays forever.
Damn,
interesting.
Really going against the grain on that one. I feel like tons of people are Bitcoin first. Obviously, if Bitcoin went to zero, the rest of the market cap would probably fall with it. But you're going, eventually Bitcoin will be phased out. That's your opinion.
I think it's just a different time horizon. I think if within the next 6 months, Bitcoin went to zero, that would be true. Like everything else will be hurt really, really bad. But if you look at like a 5-year, 10-year horizon, like if you look at the internet, right? So we got like internet 1.0, 2.0. Things replace, new technologies do come and they do replace previous generations. So I don't think cryptocurrency will be gone. I think there will be, it's totally conceivable that other things will come along and have stronger adoption and overtake Bitcoin one day. But I think within the next even year or two, if Bitcoin goes down, goes to zero, then I think that would be pretty bad for the industry. And I think I think what they said is right. But people take that to the extreme, like say, look, everybody talks about things in absolute terms. But I don't. But you got to take a much bigger scope to look at things, and then things usually sit somewhere with a balance.
Interesting. And I want to get to those super chats, but just one more follow up on that question. To me, and like as our audience knows, the people that subscribe to us, they're learning along with us. But to me, from what I hear or tend to think, Bitcoin, from the use case of a store of value being the most censorship resistant and the most decentralized right now, for that use case, Bitcoin, there's no other cryptocurrencies that I can see have a clear shot of becoming more decentralized or censorship resistant than Bitcoin. So from that use case, Bitcoin seems to be the dominant winner right now. But are you saying in terms of the other use cases like smart contracts and where you can build on them, that's where altcoins will shine?
Yeah, so I agree with that 100%, actually. So I forgot to mention that. I think one of the strongest attractive points for Bitcoin is it is truly decentralized. So I think that's the key.
Okay.
Whereas almost every other cryptocurrency now has a funder associated. We can still identify the funder, which is good for like pushing progress forward and making decisions, but which is bad for decentralization and for censorship resistance. And also it's a risk. If something happens to Vitalik, I think the Ethereum price will drop a little bit. So, in that aspect, I fully agree that Bitcoin is the most decentralized, and we don't know who the founder is, etc. Probably the second to that is probably actually Dogecoin, right? Because the founder actually gave it, like, so the founder is no longer involved in the projects and etc. But Doge, unfortunately, doesn't have the kind of backing behind as Bitcoin does, obviously. So I think on that point, I'm not. We fully agree. So I'm not arguing against those points. And I think for the foreseeable future, we will see Bitcoin being very dominant for the short to medium term. But if you look at the super long term, what is it impossible to replace conceptually? No, I think, over time, there may be other cryptocurrencies that would become really, really decentralized. There are a few other sort of smaller coins that are relatively decentralized right now, and hopefully one day they'll get there. But I'm not wishing for that to happen. I'm just saying that it's not inconceivable for those things to happen. There's a chance it may happen. So I'm not wishing for those things. I'm still pushing Bitcoin really strongly, but I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. To be very transparent, I think Bitcoin's great. Other than BNB, the only thing I hold is Bitcoin. So I bought them in 2014. I still keep them. I haven't sold. I haven't bought more, but I believe in strongly. So yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a strong disagreement there, to be honest, unless people argue about the semantics of the wording. But I take a much longer view. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
I would have said that, thinking like nobody obviously knows what's going to happen next year, let alone in the far future. But I would have said that Bitcoin is like the safest coin to invest in with the best chance of being here in the future, as opposed to anything else.
I think of all the, most of all the cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin is probably the safest in terms of longevity at this point. And it has the least risk in terms of getting shut down or getting destroyed because the founders suddenly decided to quit or something happens to him, etc.
Exactly, that wouldn't happen. Yeah.
So I think Bitcoin has the least of those risks. But is it going to be the highest return coin? I'm not sure. Because some of the smaller coins, because they have higher risks, they may also have higher returns in the short term.
Oh, well, now we're talking about something else, of course.
Yeah, so it depends, right? So everybody have a different risk tolerance profile, and but like, look, for me, I'm a very strong supporter of Bitcoin. I'm not against it, but I like Bitcoin for all of those things you mentioned, and so I do think that today, for the next few years, for this industry to succeed, we do need Bitcoin to succeed, but I'm not worried about that anymore. I know Bitcoin will succeed. There's no way to shut it down. There's no like conceivable way to shut it down in a meaningful manner. So I'm not too worried about that anymore. So that's why, I'm a strong supporter of Bitcoin. That's for sure.
I love it. And we're going to move on to some super chat questions in a second, which are just all over the place. But I do want one last thing about this topic on Bitcoin. CZ, the biggest Bitcoin supporter out there, want to put you in the hot seat right now. Question for you, CZ. We need to get SegWit onto Binance. Is there any reason SegWit hasn't been added, and when can we expect SegWit on?
Yeah, so we definitely want to add SegWit. There's no question about the direction there. It's just a priority and amount of work. So we've done a lot of customizations on the Bitcoin wallet. So if you install the default Bitcoin wallet on the one that you download from bitcoin.org, those wallets don't handle millions of addresses. So when you have like 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, when you have 100,000 addresses in one of those wallets, and they actually have frequent transactions on a day-to-day basis, that wallet will crash like crazy. It's unusable. So we actually had to do a lot of custom work to accommodate Bitcoin. We actually pretty much have to rewrite the wallet ourselves. Given that, the work to add something new or to change it is actually quite a lot. We also have a lot of security protocols around it, how we generate addresses for new deposits, and how we make sure all of those are very secure, and that a lot of our hot wallet has to be online. Security measures around that. Just introducing a new address format, SegWit, we want to, but it's a lot of work. We have to generate a new format. We have to have our risk checks around that. So it's really just the amount of work and a prioritization issue. So I don't know exactly when, but we'll get there sooner or later. But it won't be too soon based on information I know. There's still quite a bit of work. It's not like we're close to done. So being very transparent, it's gonna take a little bit more time. But it's being actively discussed. Well, it's been thoroughly discussed already. We know what to do. It's just the scope of work is quite large, and we'll get it done eventually.
For user experience for an exchange, though, obviously people want to be able to transfer at low fees. Surely that's one of the paramount things for user experiments. If we're all coming at it from a sense of Bitcoin needs to do well this cycle, people need to be on board with Bitcoin. Can we get a commitment from you, CZ, at the end of the year or the end of 2021? Can we get some date?
So I apologize. I can't commit like that. I don't even know if I commit. I'm just committing out of thin air. So I can't do that.
I feel you.
Yeah. So it's not something I control fully. So yeah.
CZ, just know from the Bitcoin community, that's paramount. You could get all the Bitcoiners in the whole entire world saying, everybody go to Binance Exchange as soon as SegWit is implemented. Just know that, and let's move on.
I think most of them are already here. So.
All right. I love it. All right, let's move on to some super chats. We do have a lot of good ones. Feel free to answer as little as you want because we do have a lot of them. Any thoughts on the next Binance IEO? What is it? Do you know?
Obviously I cannot disclose the project names ahead of time, but it's coming that's coming very, very soon. There's actually a few very strong candidates. I actually don't know which one's going to be first, but that's coming very, very soon. I would say that's coming in weeks. Okay. Bitcoin price or market cap at the top of the next bull run? I have no idea, but I think there's no limit. I mean, again, it depends on time horizon. I would say, look, it's 10x, 100x, 1000x, all possible, but the higher x is gonna take longer. Yeah.
What inspires you at the moment?
Inspires me at the moment. I think I'm already quite lucky in the sense I'm working on something that I'm truly honored to do and inspired to do. So I think, so I already have the best job in the world. So there's a lot of other things that inspire me, a lot of other people, a lot of other things. But I think just having this chance of increasing the freedom of money for people all around the world is already the best chance I can ask for in this life. I'm pretty happy to doing that.
I love it. This is about a specific coin. Any chance that the coin Electronium will get listed on Binance?
I can't answer that. So yeah, no comment on that one.
What are your thoughts on Ethereum 2.0? And what do you think about staking as this new popular trend?
Sure. I think Ethereum 2.0 is one of those things where, look, Ethereum 1.0 is out. Upgrading is extremely difficult. It's a lot of work. So I think it's taking longer than anticipated or initially expected, but I think that's quite normal, to be honest. So I'm really rooting for them to roll it out. And I think that when it rolls out, it will be a big, hopefully it will be a big game changer for the industry. So I have very high expectations of it, but I also know that the amount of work involved is tremendous. This is both in terms of amount and also difficulty. So I'm rooting for them. Hopefully they get it out soon. Yeah.
I get a sense that you're rooting for Ethereum more than you're rooting for Bitcoin. Are you more of an ETH guy?
No, I'm definitely not more of an ETH guy. I'm also rooting for Bitcoin. But the other thing is the Bitcoin development community is very decentralized. But decentralization also means that the progress may be a little bit slower. There's no concerted effort into one area. There's no Bitcoin 2.0 coming out, etc.
But that's good for money, right? You don't want your money to change that often, right? That's the argument.
Yeah, so that's good for money, but at the same time, that's maybe less good for innovation in terms of speed of innovation. So it's going back to the previous question is because the speed will be a little bit slower in terms of innovation. It's not inconceivable something would overtake it. I'm not that strong, so I'm not promoting Ethereum over Bitcoin, but there's only a few limited coins I can talk about. To be honest, I can't talk about too many coins. I don't want to talk about other coins because it will seem to be more.
I get you. I talk about Bitcoin with you all day, but Austin.
Were those the super chats?
Yeah, we got through most of them. I'm still writing them down, but we can.
Okay, awesome. Again, if you guys have a question for CZ, this is the time to ask. We might get to them, but big question. It seems like the hype right now, what so many people are excited for, is DeFi, specifically DeFi on Ethereum. What are your thoughts on that, and what excites you the most about DeFi?
So I think DeFi is very cool in terms of the innovation aspects of it. Now, I think it started with like lending, etc., and now it's got into like yield farming, all of this really interesting stuff. And who would have thought that stable coins have a trading market that you can do yield farming on? I mean, the word stable means that they're stable, right? Like, why would you trade? So, but you never know. So I think this goes to show that some things are really unexpected, and there's a lot of innovation in this space, which is really good. So again, I'm a very strong proponent of DeFi, staking, etc. I think all of these things will increase adoption of crypto. At the same time, I do want to tell all the viewers or listeners, all of this are new stuff. So there's a very inherent high risk for this kind of new technologies or new sectors. Again, overwhelmingly large proportion of the projects will fail. At the end of the day, a few years from now, maybe only a few handful of projects will survive, but those handfuls that survive will be doing really well. But the majority of the projects will fail. So it's a very high risk area. So for investors, please do understand that risk when you invest, and don't manage your risk accordingly. Don't invest what you can't lose. And when bad things happen, you just got to deal with it, understanding this risks. But from an industry development point of view, I'm very, very much for them. So I think this is great. Whether there will be how much long-lasting impact you will have is still yet to be seen. I think there will be some impact. I think even like we went through the ICO craze in 2017, but I still believe, even though that craze is kind of more or less cool, but IEOs are still pretty hot. IEOs are in much more smaller volume. So now we're kind of finding the balance there. But I think blockchain fundraising is a killer app that was kind of formalized through the ICO craze. So I think DeFi will stay. It does not mean all the projects will be successful. So, but I think as an industry, that's how we evolve, right? So that's how we improve. So yeah, I'm very much for it.
Do you think that the DeFi projects that might have the best chance of standing the test of time need to be more decentralized? Or what's your take on not all of DeFi it's all a spectrum of decentralization?
So this is my take. So I think a lot of people may disagree. Just being decentralized does not just being decentralized doesn't guarantee you success. There's a lot of decentralized projects that fail, and we also know there's a lot of centralized projects that fail, but there's also a lot of centralized projects that succeed. So I think it's not just one factor that determines the project will fail or not. If everything else being the same, a decentralized project today probably will have an edge. But the decentralized projects also have a lot of disadvantages in the sense that they're less flexible. So for example, if you look at yield farming or some of the decentralized exchanges, once they're out, they're out. There's not a centralized entity that can make decisions around it, etc. So for example, today Binance can say, look, we can give 10% negative rebate, or we can give 10% rebates to users. We can change that. We can run a promotion campaign. We can adjust really, really quickly. Whereas the decentralized thing, once you're out, it's driven by the protocol. You can't anticipate a lot of the market shifts, and you just gotta be lucky enough that protocol design has to last many years, and it has to be competitive. So Bitcoin's done that. Ethereum's more or less done that. A number of the top projects done that. But if you imagine a decentralized Uber versus the centralized Uber today, the centralized Uber, when they're starting, they can do all kinds of marketing campaigns, and they can stop anytime. In different regions, they can do different things. Whereas if you do a decentralized Uber, you probably don't have all of those things back into the protocol. So there are pros and cons in each. So I don't think people should have the view that a decentralized project is automatically better. It's going to kick all the centralized projects' ass. That's not quite the case, I think. So it still depends on how the project is designed, how strong the founders are pushing it, etc. So or how the teams are pushing it. So it still depends on a lot of factors. But I think if everything being equal, then the decentralized thing the decentralized version will be good. Will have an edge.
Sure. I think the argument is that if it's more decentralized, then it has the best chance of scaling, especially in the Western world, like the US, who will gladly shut down any centralized type of thing, Yeah,
it depends on the platform, right? So for example, if it's for example, social media is being debated a lot whether it should be decentralized or not. But right now, the centralized platform do have a lot of inertia and network effect. So a decentralized platform, I'm really rooting for it, but it's going to have a really hard time coming up. So it's not that like when you deal with money, yes. Censorship is another thing where being censorship resistant is good in a lot of ways. But also at the same time, the mass consumers may there's a lot of people who actually prefer a regulated entity because they feel it's safer. So there are different segments in the market. The strong sort of crypto OGs, they want decentralization and etc. But I also think that the majority of people in the world today cannot hold on to their own private keys securely. They don't know how to do encrypted backups. They don't know how to use how to secure the computers. They can't tell what phishing sites or malware, etc. They download software onto their computers which have viruses. So again, I wouldn't take the sort of absolute view, and I actually view that today the majority of people are actually novice users who are not crypto OGs. Given that we probably only have less than 0.1% penetration for the crypto market overall. So they're different. There are different. So I am advocating for more decentralization, but just from a business perspective, today I actually think that there's more chance probably happening at the intersection of decentralization and centralized entities. So there's probably more business opportunities at the nexus of cryptocurrencies and fiat in that intersection than the pure crypto side. Today, if you run a pure crypto project, your project's most likely going to be smaller than if you run a business in those intersections.
Interesting.
Cool. There's so much we can talk on with each thing that CZ he's gifting us with this knowledge. I would love to do so many follow-ups, but we need to move on. We do have some super chats.
Yeah. I just want to, before the super chats, I know it's touching on something you just said. Most people are very vocal about not your keys, not your coins, hold your own private keys on cold storage. But I think you've been very vocal about, no, hold it on Binance if you can't handle your holding your own private keys. What are your thoughts?
So I think there's a condition to be met. If you can hold your own private keys, by all means do it. I strongly advocate that. There's no benefits for Binance to hold your crypto for you. We actually spend a lot of money to secure our platform, and the more funds we hold, the more money we have to spend to secure those funds. And if you're not actively trading, don't hold. And if you can hold your coins securely, don't hold it on Binance.com. But at the same time, I don't want to be too extreme, right? So I take a balanced view. Every day, I have people coming to me and say, "CZ, I lost my coin in my own wallet. Can you help me?" I'm like, "Okay, how did you lose it?" They either got a virus on the computer, or they lost the hardware wallet, or they forgot the password, and then they didn't have the backup. So I get more people coming to me losing money on their own, or losing crypto on their own than through Binance. So and there's very little things we can do. I get that exposure a lot, where most people don't get that exposure. Most people think, when exchanges get hacked, there's big news because the amount is bigger and more people are involved, etc. When an individual loses $10,000, nobody writes about it, but it happens quite often. So, and again, I still have the view that today there's a much more people who cannot hold their keys securely than there are people who can. So a lot of the guys who can hold their keys securely, they think everybody is the same as them, and they give people advice, hold your own keys. I actually think that in most cases, that's actually bad advice. Just from a pure security of the guy listening, of the guy you're talking to, their fund security perspective. So I think people should take a slightly broader view, not thinking about what's best for themselves is always best for some other people. They have to look at what the other people's situation, really advise what's best for other people. To be honest, I also I don't really want to strongly tell everyone to store. It's the best thing to store your crypto funds on Binance.com. If you can hold it yourself securely, do it by all means, do it. I mean, if you hold it on Binance.com and don't trade, there's not a lot of things. There's not a lot of benefit for Binance.com. So we don't make money. We don't charge you for keeping your coins secure. We have to do a lot of work. In fact, we have to give you interest, staking payments, and all this other stuff, which doesn't benefit us directly. So I'm not against people taking coins, holding it themselves. But that advice, though, is not my point is that advice is not a universal advice that applies to most people. In fact, it doesn't apply to the large majority of people today. It's bad advice for them.
Interesting.
I happen to agree with you. I just want to say we have over 2,000 people watching. Let's see if we can get those likes to 1,000 likes. CZ, you're a popular guy.
And I just want to say, guy, I think we have 5 minutes, 6 minutes left max. CZ is a busy guy, so let's make it the best 5 minutes.
Let's do a couple super chats and we'll finish with the lightning round.
I love it.
Okay, sure. 5 minutes. So be as brief as you like. Can you give us any info on when Binance US will be coming to particular states like Florida, Georgia, Louisiana?
Again, that's not up to me.
Okay, we'll move on because we need to get through some of this stuff. Any advice for upcoming projects? So general, let's just skip that one.
Work hard. Work harder.
Hey, you recently work harder. You recently listed Digibyte on your exchange. For a while, you were asking that Digibyte pay a listing fee. They told you, hey, we are a truly decentralized project. We can't do a listing fee, and you listed them. What changed?
So again, there's a lot of misinformation because to be honest, the Digibyte founder was a hindrance to the listing. If he just didn't say anything, or if he wasn't there, we probably would have listed that coin a long time ago. But every time like he comes out and says something negative, and sometimes even not true, he takes a very like kind of a twisted meaning of things. And there were multiple times we were about to list it, and he comes out and says something negative, and he actually hinders the progress. So I think, but at the same time, Digibyte is really interesting. Having a sort of a negative contribution founder now actually makes the coin more decentralized in a way. So we said at the end, so after things quiet down a bit we thought a reasonable period of time, we said, oh, let's go ahead and list it. So we were never against the coin itself. It was just there was misunderstandings and I would say mishandling of it's actually unfortunate the funder's still around, and it just pisses and the funder likes to attack every exchange. So it is what it is.
Interesting.
Very interesting. All right, for the last couple of minutes, we're going to do a lightning round. With this lightning round, we're just going to ask you a series of true or false questions, and you'll give your opinion. Just say true or false. If you want to elaborate, you're more than welcome to, but you don't have to. And we're going to do this, and then we are going to cut to goodbyes. Okay? Ready, CZ?
Sure. It's difficult for me. Like I usually don't have a binary view, but let's try it.
All right. Oh man, that's going to make this fun. Cryptocurrency is the future. True or false?
That's true. Yeah.
Decentralized finance will lead the upcoming bull run. True or false?
I think it's true.
In your opinion, the bottom for Bitcoin was 3,200. True or false?
True. I don't think we're going to see that again.
No cryptocurrency will ever be as decentralized or censorship resistant as Bitcoin. True or false?
I would say false in the long term, but true in the short term. True in the next few years, for sure.
Damn. Bitcoin maximalists are short-sighted. True or false?
That's going to piss off a lot of people, but
I think you've already pissed them off by not implementing SegWit, CZ. Bitcoin maximalists are short-sighted. True or false?
I would say partially true.
Okay, that's fine. It's only opinions. Bitcoin will eventually be overtaken by another coin. You said yes. We will see a lot of other quality crypto projects succeed, but most coins, given enough time, will eventually trend towards zero. True or false?
True. That's definitely true.
1 Bitcoin will eventually be equal to $1 million US. True or false?
True.
CZ, you're the man. Let's say our goodbyes. Austin.
Man, thanks for coming on, CZ. I hope you come back again.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much. Everybody, check out Binance. They're one of the biggest in the game. And with that, we are going to end this live stream. Thank you guys so much. See you soon.
See you guys later.
Yo, fam, that was some good stuff. All right, so that was my video challenge. I think this is 99 of 100. We did a lot of amazing things today, and I'll come at you guys tomorrow. All right, much to love. I just wanted to watch that. Told you guys to get Ethereum a while ago, so make sure you go to getcoinsnow.com and right here. Boom, getcoinsnow.com. You'll get free 10 in Bitcoin. I'll get free 10 in Bitcoin. It's all fun and games. And then I recommend you guys invest into Ethereum for sure. All right, much to love, fam. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.